Welcome to North Tyneside. This is the Meadow estate, home to more than 6,000 people. 30 years ago tomorrow, it was the scene of some of the worst rioting this region has ever seen. For 5 hours, hundreds of youths went on the rampage, setting fire to and looting shops and a community centre.
It was just pure violence all night. Mayhem, fires, a lot of youths.
Today, this estate has changed so much for the better. New houses have been built. There's a very strong sense of community and a desire to improve lives. But there's also deprivation and division.
Shops are under threat. Houses are under threat. Drug dealers robbing drug dealers. It's not good.
Tonight, we won't just look back at what happened in 1991, but we'll also look at what's different, for better or worse, in 2021.
Meadow isn't stuck back 30 years where it was before. We've moved on and we're growing as well and we're trying to change.
Also tonight, 4 weeks after the Billsdale transmitter fire, the boss of Arqiva outlines how his company will restore TV services. And as the mercury nudges 30 degrees Celsius, we celebrate what might be the last blast of summer heat.
Hello and welcome to the Meadow Connected Community Hub. We're next to the Bay Foodbank, which serves this estate and actually most of North Tyneside, a huge area. And we're just metres from the scenes of the worst rioting 3 decades ago. The Community Hub itself is built on the site of the youth centre, which was destroyed at that time by fire. Well, the events of that night changed many lives. This is what happened. The trigger for the disorder took place 3 days earlier. On the 6th of September 1991, Colin Atkins and Dale Robson were killed after the stolen car they were in crashed near the Coast Road while being pursued by the police. Rumours started to spread the police had forced them off the road, although officers had been half a mile behind. 3 days later, tensions boiled over on the Meadow. An electricity substation was set on fire, plunging much of the estate into darkness for many hours. Shops were looted. Buildings and cars were torched, with around 400 people involved in the disturbances. At around 2 a.m, police in riot gear took control and dispersed the crowd. The following day, a major clean-up operation was launched as the full extent of the damage became clear. 2 days after that, the violence spread to the west end of Newcastle. Buildings and houses were set on fire in Benwell. The following night, Scotswood was targeted. A disused pub, the Dodds Arms, was destroyed by fire. Well, you know, the physical scars of that night 30 years ago have long gone. Most living here today weren't around, but for some, the memories remain. We've been speaking to residents and other eyewitnesses about events that night.
The Prime Minister condemns the Tyneside riots as unacceptable and calls for an urgent report.
Engulfed by fire and violence. The community woke to shops destroyed, burnt-out vehicles, smashed glass. James Mason was on the streets and remembers events clearly.
Just porting, smashing, porting, looting, mayhem, fires, a lot of youths. Ram raiding shops. The shops had the shutters down, and some of them got ram raided. And people got underneath, or people inside the shops tried to defend them. They had machetes and all that, but nobody got hurt, like.
According to James, the riot was planned in advance.
There's a power station down there. There used to be a shop, Wicks, like a hardware centre. That got burnt down and the power unit was there. That got knocked out. So we had the whole estate in darkness all night.
The police threw a ring around the estate to stop people going in and out, but did not attempt to regain control or make arrests for almost 5 hours.
Riot police, riot police, riot police, riot police. The whole Meadow was holding off.
Officers in riot gear took control in the early hours of this morning. It was horrible. You could hear the police helicopter and you could hear them all shouting and bawling and that and throwing bottles and bricks and everything. Horrible. Rubbish lying all over.
There would have been a lot of bloodshed. The police had tried to break it up. They wouldn't have stopped it. They couldn't have.
Earlier in the day, youths threw a piece of concrete at a police van, smashing the wing mirror.
So the 4 or 5 was in the back of the van are going, oh, here we go, great, stop the van, jump out. We've got, criminal damage, a bit of a disorder, let's lock them up. Unfortunately, the van commander decided that the damage to the police vehicle was more important. So we tear away in the van back to the nick, and I'm thinking, hang on, this is us running away. And I'll still say to this day that started the riot.
Streets littered with broken glass.
The following morning, Look North reporter Adrian Pitches was sent to the scene.
Clearly the shops had been trashed, the takeaway had been firebombed. I remember speaking to the gentleman that owned it.
I've got nothing left, that's all I'm wearing. All my belongings burnt, everything is gone.
Obviously I remember feeling incredibly sorry for him and also feeling puzzled as an outsider as to why you would trash these resources on your estate.
Many of the houses here are reliant on benefits.
In the days that followed, Margaret Nolan, now Margaret Reynolds, became the unofficial voice of the community.
Prior to 1991, many of these houses were boarded up and people wanted to move all the time, even if it was to the next street. They just wanted to get out. We were probably as far down as any community could possibly get. We had been pleading with everyone to give us some help because cars were going, crime was up, and people were very worried and very afraid of what was going on.
There was this sense of injustice, the sense that they'd been dealt a raw hand, particularly those 2 young men who obviously so tragically died, and that this was their way of, if you like, sort of bring it to the wider world's attention.
Whatever the causes, it was a night of madness that hit the Meadow well hard. A riot that created a reputation which has taken many years to turn around.
Well, after the riots, £60 million was spent on regeneration. 700 older homes were demolished and many more new ones built, as well as a new community hub and health centre. So what's life like here today? Well, we asked long-term resident Sarah MacDonald to give us her views. This is her report in her words.
I'm Sarah MacDonald, I'm a parent of 2. I've lived in North Tyneside all my life and roughly around 20 years on the Meadow estate. So nervous about moving here, and I find for me, my family's been the best move I've ever made. Everybody's so friendly and just tries to get to know you. I couldn't be happier.
Everyone's protected of everyone. As much as it gets slated, it's nothing like what it was years ago.
Obviously you still get your idiots now and then, especially on this road, but I think you get that anywhere though, don't you?
People forget, they use the history to see it as a negative, but they don't see all those good things in people. They don't see all the goodness that comes out of an estate that has a history. I work at Meadow Connected Community Centre on Waterville Road. It's been serving the community for about 27 years now. We host some various community projects from employability, kids club, adult daycare service. You'll remember me when the west wind moves upon the fields of barley is the opening line of which song? This is our Positive Pathways group. Some of them call it Chuckle Club. What's Meadowell mean to you now?
I lived here about 20 years ago and I got burgled 3 times. I've been here 3 years, I haven't been burgled once yet. So times have changed. Kids they've got nothing at all. And that gets them into trouble, doesn't it? Because they're bored, they've got nothing to do, and it always leads to mischief, doesn't it?
It's definitely better and people are more friendly than what they used to be. It's not as untidy as it used to be.
This is a proper community, this place, you know. People do talk to you, people do know your name.
When things get back to normal, I think things are going to be difficult for people because people are having a lot of problems financial problems are to do with low wages.
During the pandemic, it was a hard time for everybody, so to beat the boredom, people came up with the idea of street bingo. It was so popular that we carried it on afterwards. 1 and 8, 18. 6 and 5, 65.
Living by numbers.
Really good fun. Not just the winning, state in the pot.
The winning as well.
Oh, aye.
2 and 3, 23. The granddaughter decided she was going to help call out some of the numbers. And yeah, it was funny, but at the same time, trying to up stages. I hope I've shown you that the Meadow estate's changed over the past 30 years. There's good and bad in every estate. You can't always look at the history for the bad. I don't intend on moving anytime soon.
And we'd like to thank Sarah for her time in making that report. And we heard a little there about problems with crime and antisocial behaviour. And there are people on the estate that say, you know, they are having a big impact on their lives.
Over the recent years, it's getting really bad with the drugs and the violence and the hit and runs. Cars are getting burnt out very, very regular now these days. Shops are under threat, houses are under threat, drug dealers robbing drug dealers. It's not good.
You see a lot of people like off their head sometimes with wherever they're taken, you know, they just don't know where they are. And that can be frightening, you know, when you're out. I don't go out at night time, you know, but you still see them through the day.
Well, we did ask Northumbria Police for an interview, but they declined. They told Look North they are working tirelessly with the community to tackle the issues which really matter to the people who live here. Well, another issue for the estate, of course, is poverty. Now, whilst living standards are relatively high for some residents, there is deprivation too, like many estates in the North East. Pockets of the Meadow are in the most deprived 1% of the UK, with a life expectancy 11 years shorter than in Tynemouth, a more affluent area, it has to be said, about 1.5 miles down the road. Here's North Tyneside Council's Chief Executive Paul Hanson, who himself actually grew up on the Meadow.
The Meadow is not all about deprivation, and deprivation in North Tyneside is not all about the Meadow. It's about families and people who are struggling maybe to get the best start in life, who maybe don't live in the best quality of housing, who maybe struggle in the workplace. Over half of people living in deprivation are in work, which is really worrying. And that has a cumulative impact on people's health and life chances. So as a local authority, obviously we've got an important part to play, getting young people the best start in life. We look at the folk who maybe struggle to get to and into work and support them, using our own supply chain, our own partnerships, finding ways to help people be ready for work and make the best of their lives.
Well, the estate has changed in many ways for the better, but inequalities remain. I'm joined now by the Reverend Alan Dickinson, who co-founded the Bay Foodbank, and Mandy Cresswell, the Chief Officer of Meadow Connected. Thanks for joining us, guys. Alan, if I could start with you firstly. Obviously, like many areas of the North East, I keep stressing this, there is a growing need for services like the service you offer here at the Foodbank, isn't there?
Yeah, that's correct. I think nationwide we've seen an increase in the demand for food banks. So Meadowell's no different in that respect. And it is a pleasure actually to work from the Meadowell and to serve this community. And it is an absolute joy to see the community themselves supporting the food bank as well. And really it is about community support and community.
Yeah, but do you feel that you can get into all those pockets where real problems are and people are really struggling?
Yeah, I think we can. We have done. Last year we served over 350,000 meals last year, and we're already up to that number this year. So demand is increasing, but again, that's a national picture. But it's great to see the volunteers come and volunteer, and a lot of our donors and supporters are local people who just want to give back into the community in which they've come from.
You can definitely feel that, Mandy. You can really. I mean, to me, it feels as though it's a sort of game of two halves. You've got the people willing to help, and those people who really do need support. How do you feel perhaps younger people are finding living with this reputation created for the estate 30 years ago?
I think it's really difficult for them, you know, because they have to live with that history, if you like, that was not of their making. Majority of them weren't even born at that time. Yeah. But, you know, people do have long memories. I mean, I'm not personally from this area. I came to work here about 6 years ago, and I had friends who kind of expressed some of those historic views back then. And it just feels to me that that's a big legacy that young people have got to sort of battle against.
Even now?
Even now.
Tell you what, let's hear from some of them now, shall we? Here's a report from Andrew Hartley.
Meet Miriam, Rizwan, TJ, Ryan and Hafsa, born long after the riots, but today each challenging prejudice about the area they call home.
Meadow isn't stuck back 30 years where it was before. We've moved on and we're growing as well and we're trying to change. Life was not good back then for anybody. It was hard, everything was hard.
And your message to people who have a negative view of the Meadow is what?
It would be to give us a chance, because nobody gives us a chance.
Do you think the Meadow is unfairly stigmatised?
Definitely, it's very different. Like, there's a real sense of community here. No one's like really nasty to each other. Really, there's like everyone talks to each other, says hello on the street and stuff. It's really different to like places like you would say London would be quite rude compared and stuff. But this is still stigmatised as worse.
These young people are volunteers at the Phoenix Detached Youth Project. It helps hundreds each year with personal development through leisure activities.
Every community base, there's always going to be drugs, alcohol, because that's just the way people are in general. It doesn't matter where you live, it's just because of what's happened here in the past. Everyone points a finger.
People complain there's not enough to do here. Do you agree?
In a sense, yes, but if there's nothing that you particularly like to do, go to the Phoenix, and then they'll go, well, actually, this thing we can, and then it happens.
Rizwan and Mariam are refugees from Pakistan. Both moved here from another part of Tyneside. So how does growing up here compare to where you lived before?
We have some issues with the kids and the neighbors. So then suddenly we found out a nurse here and we moved here. And it is nice, good place.
People are friendly?
Oh yeah, they are.
And if you need help, they will always be like, if you thought this person gonna bully you, but no, they're gonna help you instead of that. So yeah, they are so nice people in here.
So do you think that young people growing up here have as many opportunities as young people maybe growing up in Tynemouth, just down the road?
I would love to say that there is, but I know for a fact that there isn't, unfortunately, just because of the stigma and the reputation that Meadow has because of the riots. Loads of people think that we don't strive to do more because we don't have the ability to, but it's rather because we know we're going to get judged, so we don't set ourselves up for a fail. Everybody around here is really street smart and stuff like that, which is a skill that is like lacking in some of those Tyrell kids and stuff, which I think is really important to have. They have so much general knowledge as well, but they don't think they're worthy, which is why organisations like the Phoenix are so important to sort of help those kids rate themselves.
Well, that's it from here for now. Jackie here working late at the Foodbank, and it's our anniversary as well. Congratulations. I'll be back here a bit shortly, in a bit.
The head of the company that owns the Billsdale transmitter insists it will restore all services as soon as possible. But in his first interview since the fire that put the mast out of action a month ago, Arqiva Chief Executive Paul Donovan admits he can't give a definite date to people still cut off. And he told our political editor, Richard Moss, the company still does not know what caused the fire.
The fire started somewhere between 25 and 50 metres high on the mast that's here, but it would be wrong to speculate on the cause until we've completed the forensic examination.
A month on, hundreds of thousands of people without a service, many people who are quite vulnerable, rely on the television as their company, as their lifeline effectively. It's not good enough, is it, that those people are still without a service?
I don't believe that we could have done anything faster than we have. This is a 300-metre high structure. It weighs 500 tonnes. The ability to actually replace that at the flick of a switch is something which is simply not feasible given the way that TV transmission works in the UK.
It was just simply impossible, you're saying, to have a plan that could have got TV services up and running to hundreds of thousands of homes within a month, 2 months?
Well, we're 4 weeks on, and we have established service after today to around 500,000 homes. That is not good enough, and you're quite right. There are vulnerable people who rely on TV and also on radio.
The BBC cannot do anything to repair this transmitter any quicker. You can. Should you not be contributing to that compensation that's being paid to licence fee payers?
We will do whatever it takes. Whether that is some form of compensation is too early. It's too early to say.
Where are we in terms of getting service back to as many people as possible? 2 months has been talked about. Could it be 6 months? Could it be some people might not get their coverage back within a year? Is it possible to say?
We are confident that we will have coverage for 90% of the population once we have completed the site up here at Billsdale, the temporary site. It'll take 3 weeks to build that site after the receipt of planning permission, which I understand is imminent. After that, the remaining 10% will need to be the subject of forensic analysis, whether that's the provision of satellite-based services, whether we connect people to the internet. We're looking at all of those things, and I expect in the next 2 to 3 weeks to be able to make an announcement about what that plan is and how people can actually access that.
Well, the summer holidays are over, but the summer sun is still blazing down. We sent Phil Chapman to the Lake District to take the temperature. He's been out meeting people on Derwentwater this afternoon with canoe instructor Pete Price, who's enjoying the extension of his summer season.
People seem to be waiting until the last minute to book. I must get 5 to 10 calls a day about renting boats or coming out with us. And it's great because ordinarily I'd be moving boats out to the boathouse, taking them back into storage and so on, so it's a job I've managed to save till next month, hopefully. We've been a long time shut, and this just kind of puts enough in the bank so that come next year we're still about and so on, and the company's still operating.
My name's Sam and I'm from Richmond, North Yorkshire. Just came walking yesterday and having a bit of a break on the water today, yeah, with a small group of friends to celebrate my 50th and my retirement.
We've come up from London. Obviously it's still sunny down there, but different level up here, isn't it, with the lakes?
Well, I live here. I used to live in London, but my sisters are up from London. I'm from London, yeah. My first time doing paddleboarding.
And what do you think of this amazing heat wave?
Oh, so lucky. I've only been up here for a few days and it's been hot the whole time.
It does, of course, mean that we've got a chance to make back some of the season that we missed at the beginning as well. And the rest of Keswick, I'm sure they're loving the idea that there's sun and everything. And if nothing else, I'm getting a great time.
We're from Poltonley-Fylde and we think it's absolutely fantastic. We've had a great time, haven't we? It's not a day for going up mountains today, which is why we're by the lake.
Yeah, we're away on holiday for 2 weeks and that, so second week of our holiday and everything, so it's just like being abroad though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's been fantastic.
And even though there are storms predicted for tomorrow, Pete's hoping for yet another heat wave later in September. Phil Chapman, BBC Look North, Keswick.
Time for a look at the weather now with Jen. And Jen, lots of sunshine in the lakes there. Is that the end of it though?
It's not going to be wall-to-wall sunshine from here on in, it has to be said. We've had the best of the sunshine already this week, and into tomorrow things are going to be changing, turning a bit stormy in places actually. So if we look at the headline for tomorrow, we are expecting it to be a much more unsettled day. We're going to see some outbreaks of showery rain, and some of that rain could contain some thunder and lightning as well. So a bit of a mixed picture as we move into Thursday, but let's pick up things on the map through the rest of this evening, and it's going to be a fine end to the day. It's still feeling warm out there. We've got some late evening sunshine, and then through the first part of the night we will have some clear skies. But as the night goes on, we'll start to see a few showers just starting to edge in from the southwest, and that's a sign of change on the way. Temperatures overnight still pretty mild, around 14 or 15 degrees for many. Now, for tomorrow morning, we're going to start off with a few showers starting to push in from the southwest, and those showers will increase in number as we head through the day. So the Met Office has a yellow warning in force for thunderstorms. It's valid from 10 o'clock tomorrow. Not everywhere will see the showers, not everywhere will see the thunder, but if you do, we are expecting some torrential downpours which could give some surface water flooding. It is going to be a cooler day tomorrow, but temperatures still 20-21 degrees, still above average for the time of year. Now, through Thursday night and on towards Friday, we'll lose the showers for a time. We'll have a lot of clouds and mist and fog developing. And again, it's going to be staying pretty mild. The temperatures overnight down to around 13 or 14 degrees once again. But here's how Friday morning's looking. We start off dry, but it won't be long before our next rash of showers moves in. And again, through the course of Friday, those showers could become quite heavy, some torrential downpours, and temperatures through the afternoon again around 19 or 20 degrees. The pressure chart as we head towards the weekend is for things to become a little bit drier, but certainly in the short term, we've got some rather heavy rain on the way. Alison.
As expected. Thanks, Jen. Right, let's turn now to Carol, who's on the Meadow estate. Carol.
Yes, welcome back to the Meadow. Obviously, it was in this area 30 years ago where there were riots which spread to other parts of Tyneside, and we've come here to mark that anniversary. It's an area that's seen a lot of change in those 3 decades. To tell us a bit about that change is Mike Burgess from the Phoenix Detached Youth Project and Wayne Dobson from the Cedarwood Trust, which is a charity helping the community on the estate. Thanks for joining me. Mike, I'll start with you firstly. What are you seeing in the young people on the Meadow estate? Because we often associate an area, we think about the youth and what their future might be, the opportunities they have. What do they feel about where they live?
I think things have changed dramatically. I arrived here 17 years ago, and me and the small team that we've got, we had an aim to actually look at changing the narrative for the young people. Because when I first arrived, they were wiring ghetto blasters to the lamppost, and there was large amounts of long unemployed young people, and we thought we'd need to do a lot about this. So we worked at inspiring young people to respect themselves and others, to contribute to the community, and to actually the economy. So for us, it's been a big drive to get young people into work, training and university. And just for example, in the last 2 years, we've got 38 young people into work, 12 into training and 2 into
great success. Yeah.
2 into university.
Just want to thank you. I just want to bring Wayne in very quickly. The older generation don't really refer to the riots anymore, do they?
No, they certainly don't. They only refer to the riots when people bring up the riots. It's very much submitted to history, and people are focused on opportunities. And there's a huge amount of community spirit and optimism that I certainly don't see living on a private estate where we don't see our own neighbours are.
I've got the message, gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed. That's it from us this evening on a beautiful evening on the Meadow estate in North Shields. Good night.